store at Mardi Gras, and this guy comes up to me, takes off his top, and says, "Give me some beads." And that's how I met Michael Barker. Yeah.
We're on.
Oh, we're on. Hey, sports fans, Haroon Rashid, Khemeia Consulting, and welcome to Haroon's Hangout, the internationally featured show on marketing innovation, making digital marketing simple, straightforward, and fun. Today, a very special guest with us. We have the wonderful, the delightful Andi Lonnen. And if you don't know who Andi is, then you need to seriously sort your face out and sort your life out. So Andi established her financial training business in January 2013. Her training is upbeat, easily understood, and engaging, and I hear a rumor that it gets people buzzing to kind of implement this stuff straight away in their businesses. But what some people may not know is that Andi is actually a multiple author, and she's going to talk to us today about the power of niche marketing. It's so great to have you on the show, Andi.
Thank you very much. Hi, Haroon.
Great stuff, great stuff. So we're going to have a great time. We're going to be talking about how you became a multiple author. We're going to talk about the benefits of writing a book for your business, and also how to combine online and offline tactics for promotion. So how does that all sound to you, Andi?
Sounds fantastic, yes.
Excellent. I know that we have a very slight delay here, so for the audience, just please bear with us. Hopefully Google Plus will sync that back up, but do bear with us. So Andi, you run a financial training business. You're also a multiple author in an area which is not really linked to finance. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about your background and why you started becoming an author and what's been going on? Just tell us about that.
Sure. Well, it actually all started with my hobby, which is cycling and cycle touring. And I did a big cycle tour. This is actually how I started my business as well. I did a big cycle tour back in 2012, the summer of 2012, across Switzerland and France on my own, 6 weeks, camping. I went through lots and lots of mountain ranges, Swiss Alps, French Alps, Jura Mountains, Vosges Mountains, through the Champagne region, all the way up to Calais. And as I did that, I wrote a blog and posted a photo every day, mostly so that my mum knew I was alive. And the blog proved really popular. So, and there were calls to write a book that would help other people who were cycle touring. So I thought, sure, why not? So my first book was actually nothing to do with finance and what I do. It was cycle touring. So.
Excellent. So let's just back up a little bit then. So you've got a hobby, you're cycling, you're doing this wonderful trip, and I'm sure you've got loads of great stories. I know we did have a few stories, didn't we? You shared a few when you were going on your travels, but you started a blog, and then you said you were posting a picture every day, and you were getting interaction. So tell us, so did a lot of people just find your blog and just start interacting with you, or was it like a slow kind of gradual thing? How did it come about?
I think, like I say, it was mostly so my mum knew I was still alive every day. It was the best way I could think, rather than emailing everybody or texting several people, you know, my family and friends every day. I looked into blogging, which I'd done a little bit of before, but not much. So yes, it was word of mouth really, and I think some people really got into it. They were really looking forward to their daily dose of what had happened the day before. Because I think with cycle tours, I suppose with any type of adventure, there's always different things happen every day, whether it's the people that you meet or the places that you stay or something that happens or the weather. So there was always just something every day. And because the scenery was so stunning, it was an absolute joy to choose a different picture every day as well. And I think, yeah, it just word of mouth, and it spread and got engagement. And when I got home, I found out there'd been over 7,000 hits from around the world. So.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So how did that start then, the journey into going and writing a book about this?
It was basically a few people had said, you know, it'd be brilliant if you wrote a book. And I thought, like many people, I guess, who am I to write a book? And then I thought, hang on a minute, I used my Kindle. I downloaded lots of people's diaries and books on their cycle tours, and they helped me massively when I did my trip. So I thought, yeah, why not? So I just wrote a chapter every evening at home and at weekends, which was quite straightforward. I'd got the blog, I'd got the diary. The book does have more in than the blog because there are some things I didn't dare let my mum know at the time. So yeah, there are some differences. Found out about, for this one, I found out about self-publishing on Amazon. And it's just sold brilliantly and internationally, which is fantastic.
Brilliant. So you're an international author now.
Yes, yes, I guess I am, yeah.
Absolutely. But I think what the point would be that you've got so we're talking about the power of niche marketing. So you've got, I would, well, dare I say, quite a niche area there. It's not just about cycling. It was a bit of travel, particularly around France and that kind of region as well. And, it's not everybody's bag. Let's be fair, but there is a hardcore community. I'm assuming people who do follow that kind of thing, who do like to follow people's travels, who like to explore and do all that kind of stuff, and who like cycling. So you've got a niche audience there for that, which I'm guessing is because you've gone into that niche content. It was probably easier for these people to find that stuff, and then for you to become an international author, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I hadn't even thought about it as, I suppose I did think about it as niche. I was just doing something that I hoped would help other people undertaking this kind of trip, or doing some research, or something along those lines. In the book, I answered questions that I had before I set off. How do I get a bike and 6 panniers across 2 countries to start cycling? How do you do it when you're on your own? What happens if the bike breaks down? That sort of thing. So it was to help other people, and it was actually speaking to the publisher of my finance book, my first finance book, that she explained the reason for the success of the cycle touring book was because it was so niche, and that's why it's done really well.
And what's the name of the book again, Andy, for our viewers?
It's quite a long one. It's called My Summer Sabbatical, Cycling Across Switzerland and France. And the reason it does what it says on the tin is because that's how I used to do my research. I'd put in cycling across Switzerland, cycling across France. So I hope that helps people find it when they're undertaking a similar trip.
Brilliant. Well, we're going to put that in the show notes for people where you can go and buy that book. I'm sure that people are going to love that. There's a lot of people in Khemeia who are cycle enthusiasts. I'm sure that they'll dig that as well. So I'm sure they're looking forward to that. So you became an international author in a niche area, but that you didn't stop there though. What happened after that? You're doing some more books now, aren't you?
Yes, I am, yeah. And in fact, it was the cycle tour that changed my life, to be honest. It was then that I set up the business. And I went along to a networking lunch, if I'm allowed to mention the networking group, fantastic group. Ladies Just Want to Have Lunch, fantastic group in Leeds. And a publisher was speaking at that event, and I just so happened to be sat next to her for lunch, which I was really grateful for because I was looking forward to meeting her. And she was looking for authors at the time to write for what's called a solopreneur series. So solopreneurs, small businesses, one-man bands, or one-man brands as they call it. So I said, I run some workshops called Be Fabulous at Finance. And she loved the concept. So yes, the Be Fabulous at Finance book was born as well. And now there are more in the pipeline, which is very exciting.
Excellent, excellent. So you started off doing your writing as a hobby, and then it's kind of led to other things for your business now, which is fantastic. But one thing I wanted to kind of come back to as well, Andy, was that I really love that you said was that you weren't kind of consciously, with the cycling book, you weren't kind of consciously marketing or anything like that. You just said, from what I heard, you said, I was doing something that I loved, something that I was passionate about. And then the second thing was you wanted to be really helpful. So how to fix a bike, or how to do this, how to do logistics and all that kind of stuff. So we often advocate about being helpful, just solving people's problems and needs, and just doing something you're passionate about. Do you think that was the reason for the success of the book?
Maybe, actually. I think I've had some good comments back from people who are undertaking tours. They've either had further questions, or they've said what's helped them in particular, which has been great. And in fact, someone got in touch from Lausanne in Switzerland, where I cycled nearby, and they agreed with every observation I've made of Switzerland. But they found the book really useful in terms of route and that sort of thing as well. So it's really, really great. And I guess, yeah, thinking about it, that's exactly what the finance book is as well. This is to help people understand numbers better in their business, especially for solopreneurs, one-man bands, or one-man brands. who go into business doing what they love, but not necessarily understanding the numbers. And to be a business owner, you do need to have a grasp of the financials. And I try and make finance fun as well, hence the title Be Fabulous at Finance, to make it hopefully a bit more attractive.
Absolutely. Haroon's Hangout is brought to you by the Khemeia Network and Khemeia Consulting, Yorkshire's innovation agency, where we believe that innovation is the key to business growth. So, Andy, I want to talk now then about, obviously writing a book has benefited you, your brand, your business, and I know we're both in business in West Yorkshire, and I know we've met loads of people who have written books, but they've not really taken off. They're not really kind of got to the success that I suppose that you have. So what would be the benefits of writing a book for your business, do you think?
Oh, wow. Huge, I think. I think, firstly, the credibility that it brings. It says that you're an expert in this particular field, this niche area. It's the best business card you can possibly take for business development meetings, of course. I do a lot of public speaking as well, conferences. I think having the book is one of the things that gets you through the door. So the whole business development side, the whole marketing side, the credibility side. And I think the other benefit is when you're actually writing it, you really think about your audience, which really helps you hone the type of content that you're writing, and therefore really helps you understand your own business better, to be honest, as well.
Excellent, excellent. So for any business owner who's thinking about going and writing their first book, what would be like the first kind of bits of advice that you give? I know there's going to be loads of stuff that you could give them, but what would be like the first stepping stones to going and writing a book?
I think just get going. I know that sounds crazy. I think, well, how did I approach it? I had the concept of what Be Fabulous at Finance was. The publisher, they have in this series, it's a whole series of books that they're producing, has a very specific way of having the chapters. So each chapter is a question, a typical question I get asked. So for example, how do I manage my cash flow? How do I get money in from customers? So I understood the concept. I'd spec'd out the chapters. But I think the thing was just to get going with it. And I actually didn't start at the beginning. I started partway through on what was my favourite chapter and the easiest chapter, therefore, for me. And of course, that really just builds that momentum, and then you get the next one done and the next one done, and just keep going with it. So just get started.
Excellent. And then obviously we're in this kind of phase where there's traditional publishing, there's online publishing. Am I right in thinking that you went down the traditional publishing route? Is that right?
For the finance book, yes. For the cycling book, that was self-publishing. It is available paperback and on Kindle. And the finance book, again, so it's produced by a publisher, it's printed by a publisher, so you can get paperback, but you can buy it electronically on Amazon as well.
Excellent. Which one do you prefer? Do you have a preference for self-publishing or traditional, or do you have a preference?
Oh, interesting question. I think there's benefits to both, actually. I think it's really interesting working with a publisher. It's good fun working with a publisher. You can get better feedback. You know that it's going to be a very professional finish. They'll talk to you about things that you probably don't even think about, like paper quality and what typeface you're going to have and that sort of thing. So they deal with all that side. Self-publishing is probably a bit more work, but also great fun. It's a new area. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just amazing that you can get a book out there that you don't have to go and get a publisher, and the whole world, thanks to Amazon, can see it. It's incredible.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, now you mentioned Amazon, the next thing I wanted to talk about was, and I think you're a great person to talk to because you've been in both the online and the offline world. How do you combine, let's say, online and offline tactics for promotion? So going right back to your first cycling book, how did you promote the book?
Well, definitely on the blog. That was important given so many people had been reading it. Twitter was definitely my friend for the cycle touring book and the finance book, actually. That's been fantastic. And again, it was supplementing it with some helpful tips, touring tips that I used to tweet every week as well. And because I'm in a cycling club, that really helped spread the word locally. I had a press release in a paper, in local papers. That definitely helped as well. So there were all sorts of different techniques I used for that. In terms of the finance book, I do all of those things, but also, like I say, do a lot of public speaking and conferences, and I think that's a big help for getting the word out there about that book as well.
Excellent. So it sounds like you were combining them both well. It wasn't like you were saying, well, I'm just going to do online promotion or I'm just going to do offline. You kind of found a nice way to blend them both, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And I think they complement each other beautifully as well. I've made some wonderful friends on Twitter that, I've never met them. I probably never will meet them. But it's just part of a community. And it's I have 2 Twitter accounts, actually. For my cycling, I have @CyclingAndy. So that's where I meet all my, cycling friends and liaise with the club and that sort of thing. And then I have my professional account as well. So, yeah, I think online and offline, combining it was very important.
Excellent, excellent. So, just want to bring up an ad here. So, be sure to catch At the Sharp End, Mondays, 9 a.m. with Khemeia director Ian Sharp, where every business can be profitable. So that's At the Sharp End, every Monday, 9 a.m. only on Google+. So, Andy, do you want to just tell us a little bit more about what kind of tools do you think are a must for businesses who have written a book and now they want to promote it in this online world?
The online world. Well, for me, Twitter's been fantastic, so I would definitely promote Twitter. I do need to explore Facebook more. I know a lot of authors say you have to have a Facebook page and a Facebook profile, and it definitely works for them. That's something that I travel all around the country all the time, so it's just sitting down and getting used to it. LinkedIn has been helpful as well. So if you've got a professional book out there, I think you're talking to a professional audience. So I think LinkedIn is a very powerful tool for that as well, very much so.
Excellent, excellent. So we're coming to the part of the show which is my favorite, excuse me, which is called the Cameo Workout. So this is the part of the show where our guest will tell our audience one thing that they can do straight away to implement what you've been saying, what you've been teaching us all. So, Andy, what is the one thing that you would like our audience to do straight away if they were going to go into niche marketing, writing a book, or whatever it is?
For writing a book, get that first sentence down. Just write it. The amount of people I've met that say, oh, I'd love to do that. Oh, I've always wanted to do that. I'd really like to do that. One day I'm going to do that. Just get it done. Once you've got started, the momentum builds. And even if you think, right, I've got 10 minutes, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just brain dump. You can sort the words out later. The publisher can sort the words out later. Just get it down.
Like it a lot. Just start it. Stop excusing started. Otherwise, Andy's going to sort you out. So I think we're coming up to the end of the show. But Andy, this has been absolutely fantastic. I'm sure that people are going to want to find out more about you. So where can people find you online?
The best place is my website, www.andilonnen.com.
Excellent, and we'll be sharing all that stuff in the show notes, all the links to Andy and her books and everything. Do go and check her out. She's fantastic, and you can trust me because, you know, I'm the foremost authority in all matters. So, so next week, do be sure to catch us for the very first ever annual Haroon's Hangout Super Bowl special, where I'll be joined by 2 good friends from America. First is Jacob Markowitz from Movi, and the second is Dom Garrett from Michigan, a digital marketer in Michigan. And we're going to be going and breaking down the key storylines over this year's Super Bowl, the key matchups, and of course who we think is going to win. And of course, there's no surprises that I think that the Patriots are going to win because, well, you know, I wear the jersey and go Pats. So, but I want to say, Andy, thank you so much for coming on the show. We've had a really good time, and we hope that maybe you'll come back on and you know, share some more secrets when you release some more books.
I'd love to. Thank you very much for having me. I've enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll be putting all the links in the show notes. Go and check them out. And until then, we'll see you next time, sports fans. Take care.